Patrick Long, you have a couple distinctions. One, you're one of my favorite people, but you know that. You are a champion race car driver, and if there is a champion event promoter, I think that award might be coming your way soon. We're here at Mid-Ohio. You're with the Wright Motorsports team. You're going to try and go win for Porsche. Tell us about what you've been doing once a year, 5th anniversary. I can't pronounce it. I can get to the Luft part, but tell us about this amazing Porsche gathering you've been putting on now for 5 years and how it's a lot different than just a cars and coffee or some of the other more, I guess, black and white installations.
Yeah, Luftgekühlt's been sort of a pet project for me. Last 5 years, as you said, it's grown sort of 2x annually. So 40 cars and a group of friends in a parking lot turned into 1,000 cars and 8,000 people.
Amazing.
A worldwide event where people come together and celebrate vintage Porsches. Everything up till 1998 was air-cooled, and Luftgekühlt is the translation in German of air-cooled, which talks about the engines that we ran in those cars.
So looking at the layout of this year's, for example, I love everything from having cars on top of lumber instead of just sitting on the concrete. I love whether it's the cups with coffee in them. There's a really good style that is brought to this, and I know that's also part of what's important to you. Tell us about how you've shaped this event, because it's not a museum. It's not just pulling up in a parking lot. You've really tried to create an atmosphere.
Yeah, the initial idea was to tell a story with automobiles. Someone who's not familiar with the niche sort of cult-followed air-cooled Porsche scene. And it's grown from there into something that is aspirational. It's something you can take part in with your own car. But we also had, some amazing historic victory cars from Porsche's past. And it's a little bit of everything: music, food, culture. I have a great team behind me. Los Angeles is great with car culture, but also artistic culture.
Absolutely.
And so lifestyle. And it's a Sunday morning event where you see a lot of families, dogs, kids, but they're all standing around $15 million cars, and they're also standing around $5,000 cars, 914s and 912s that kids have found on Craigslist and fixed up and modified themselves. So that's one of the things, is disarming sort of the snobbery that vintage car scenes can sometimes have. But my past is being dragged to car shows as a kid all around LA, and then racing cars as a professional and seeing what kind of things I'd like to focus in on an event, and really just making it up as we go.
So there's some photos from the event that are just killing me. One of our mutual heroes, Vic Elford. I mean, come on. One of Dan Gurney's Formula One race-winning Porsches as well. How cool is it, as you mentioned, to have everything from the relatively either unloved, it could be a 924, 928, up to these priceless artifacts from the world of motorsport? What's it like to have that cool balance? And also, I have to imagine there's some geekery from you too, going, oh my gosh, I have that here?
Yeah, there's a fan in me, there's an enthusiast in me. I collect my own air-cooled cars, and that's how I started this whole madness of why can't I do my own cars and coffee.
Nice.
But yeah, Vic Elford has become a friend over the last decade, working with him in Porsche events, and it's just a culmination of connections. Jeff Sward is a big part of Luftgekühlt. Howie Idelson is a business partner of mine. I started with him on the go-kart tracks in the early 90s. So it's really just getting friends together from all over the world that we all meet in our travels, who have this common bond and interest in vintage 911s. I found a lot of mechanics in the ALMS, IMSA, World Challenge paddock. They have shops of their own. They're modifying cars and servicing cars during the week, and it just became this thing where the phone started ringing. It's like, hey, I want to bring a car. I want to bring somebody. But yeah, this year we try to have some special offerings. We had Jerry Seinfeld's Gamoon, so one of the first 356s ever built up in Austria. The 804 that Gurney won Solitude. We wanted to celebrate Dan. Justin came out, sat in the car. That was really special for us. And then Vic, 50 years ago, Vic had his monumental year. I mean, every year in his career was monumental, but to go from the Rally Monte Carlo straight to Daytona and win in a 907, Targa, all the things that he's accomplished. We flew him out from Florida. We wanted to really recognize and make him a hero. He'll have a lot more of that recognition this year with Porsche's 70 years, and of course Rennsport, which is coming up in September. But we wanted to have a moment of loudness. I told Vic, look, the only deliverable here is that you get in your car at noon and choke some people with loud sounds and a lot of smoke.
It's the best.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
So what's next? I guess that's my last question for you. What's next? I'm guessing with the popularity and the provenance that you're building with this, are you getting requests to put on a East Coast version? I mean, I imagine this could take over your life if you aren't careful.
Yeah, what's next is always the question. Sometimes we get through 6 months of planning like we just did, and it's should we just drop the mic and walk away and leave this as a small piece of the vintage car culture, or maybe we'll find something that will be better. I don't know if we'll go bigger, but we may go and do some pop-ups on the road, different parts in the U.S. We've been in and looked around Japan. We've been to a few sites in Europe, so you never know. We like to keep our consumers and our fans guessing. There has to be some mystique and surprise to it, but the real story is we're making it up as we go.